All right, guys, this one has been a long time in coming. This is the 4 pillars of a CrossFit gym, or let's call it a small box gym. Any small community gym, I think this would apply to. And this has really crystallized in my head over the years of running King William District CrossFit, now also MetFix Southtown. Because I've realized that if you're gonna have to continue with the metaphor, a firm structure that is a sustainable business model as a gym, that there are 4 pillars that hold this up, 4 categories that make this whole thing stable. Having said that, each one of these does not hold up the same amount of weight. Each one of these holds up a disproportionate amount of weight compared to the others. And I'll go through that as we go through each category. And I will say, I work on each one of these specifically every day. Every day, 7 days a week, I'm working on each one of these categories in a big way or a small way, in a maintenance way or a move the needle forward kind of way. But they get worked on every day. So the first one, what the last 2 episodes were expounding on, the community or the culture of the gym. And guys, I did those last 2 episodes because, as I've said before, I think this becomes just a marketing ploy at some gyms. Oh, this small gym has a wonderful community. It may or may not. And it may just happen by dumb luck at the beginning, depending on who's there and who's running the facility on a daily basis. But if it's going to stay with a solid, honest, positive community, it is not luck. Somebody is working on these categories. Somebody is working on this. And I believe it starts with me as the owner and the person that is most integrally involved on a daily basis. Then it comes down to the coaches to make sure they are living it themselves and watching the interactions in class. And then it comes to each one of you guys. And frankly, on your end, I want this to be just the fun part. We have a great community at King William District CrossFit. I feel I can say that proudly. It's because all you guys look out for each other. You're positive people. You want each other to succeed. And that's all I need from you. Be the best version of yourself. Come to class, work hard, be nice to those around you. Try to see things with a glass half full. Complaining in general in life, I think you guys know, gets nobody anywhere. In my mind, from that stoic standpoint, you either learn to be okay with something or you do something about it. And I am fine with both of those solutions based on what the issue is in life. But either you become okay with something or you take responsibility for it and try and change the situation, whatever it is. But once you join King William, guys, you are a part of a wonderful community. And I was just watching Alex again today. You can't talk to Alex and not have your day brighten a little bit. He's just a nice guy. You're going to end up laughing and smiling when you talk to him. But you have access to, we have our resident attorneys that you want some free legal advice. They're happy to help you out. We have many doctors at the gym who love their profession. You want to nerd out on anything to do with the body, they would love to talk to you about it. We have hairdressers, we have fence builders, we have financial advisors. You want to talk to Michael Taylor about anything to do with finances? Guys, the reason the gym is still open is because of a lot of the advice I got from Michael Taylor for free over the years, just doing me a favor in the past. So I will say, you are becoming part of a wonderful community, but on the backside, that is being constantly nurtured and watered. I compare it to a plant that King William District CrossFit MetFix Southtown is now coming up on 15 years of age. So it has deep roots, deep established roots. But in this hot Texas summer, if I just decided not to water it and not to pay any attention to it, it would die. And so when I see issues, there's something I need to address and I need to worry about, so I take responsibility on that. And on your guys' side, I just want you guys to be a positive influence in the community. I won't reiterate all the things I went over in the last 2 episodes. I'll attach them in the description below of this one if you want to go back and listen to them. But know there's a lot of moving parts to any good community. It does not happen accidentally. The next one would be the coaching. And guys, so there is community and culture, there is coaching, then there's programming, and then there's facility. Those are the 4 corners, the 4 pillars of a community gym. I consider the community to be the pillar that is holding up the most weight. It is the most important one, especially from a long-term standpoint. If the other 3 are rock solid and you have a shitty community. I think that gym could last for a while, but I think it very much will have a sudden end at a certain point. With coaching can overcome bad programming. So I'll get into programming next, but if you have really good coaches, they can overcome fairly poor programming. But it puts a lot of responsibility on the coaches if the programming is subpar. And it makes the coach's job a lot easier if the programming is solid and well thought through. But the coaches have to care. The coaches have to care about what they're doing, and there needs to be someone challenging the coaches to get them out of their comfort zone, to make sure, as good as the coaching may be at any gym, ours, anywhere, it can be better. And if you just get too much, we are creatures of habit and creatures of routine, and it is very easy to do that with coaching. My job, what I try and do, is both myself and them, keep us from getting too comfortable, that we need to be working on. There should be a same class format, and you guys know class flows in general the same way. And I think that is important too, that class as a class structure has a flow, and you guys know how that goes. We present at the whiteboard, we do the warm-up, we have a break for the bathroom, and then whether there's one or two parts to the workout, we work through that. But we should be always evolving on the cues we're using, on the scaling options we're using, on how we're doing the warm-up. We don't have a cookie cutter warm-up. Some gyms do, and you could do worse than have that. I have higher aspirations. I want the warm-up to be very specific to that day and apply to what is being worked in that workout that day. So in my opinion, as much as each workout is different each day, so should the warm-up be different that day. But this is one of the things, guys, that I am very passionate about, and I'm happy to say all the coaches are, and also I did an episode on the coaching. I know all these coaches care a lot about being better at their craft, including my wife, including Janelle. And guys, I was thinking about this week. Janelle and I have been married 14 years now, and I'm happy to say we don't argue a whole lot. We don't argue about parenting. We don't argue about finances. We don't argue about who's doing the chores around the house. But I will say the one thing we butt heads on occasionally, the one thing we will argue about is coaching. And it is because both of us are very passionate about it. We take a lot of pride in it, and we want it done well. And frankly, this just happened the other day. Janelle did not approve of how I was running the clock in class. And she came to me with that, and I did not like how she came at me with it. And we got in a spirited discussion about this issue. And guys, I'm really happy to say that Janelle and I got home that day, and we immediately addressed it, and she was right on the point she was making. She was 100% right. I could tighten up what I was doing. And that's the critical thing here, is I think I am a good coach. I take a lot of pride in it. I can still tighten it up, and I need to tighten it up, and I need to not get too comfortable. And on her side, she said this was not the time or the way to present this to you, to get you to absorb it in the positive way. And the nice thing is, guys, that with Janelle at King William District CrossFit, that occasionally when the opportunity presents itself, these disputes between the two of us as co-workers can be sometimes resolved with makeup sex, which is wonderful. And, it's not often at your workplace that you can have a dispute with your coworker and resolve that possibly with makeup sex. But the HR department at King William District CrossFit is very open-minded about this. But now that I've said that, there's big exceptions to that rule. Nobody else gets to have makeup sex to resolve their conflict with Janelle. Coaches, just FYI, you're definitely getting written up for that. You're definitely getting your ass kicked for that. But anyways, that part, I've digressed a little bit on that one. All that to say that I think one of the most important things I do is make sure I am challenging the coaches in new ways, is getting them thinking about what they're doing and doing it better. And I appreciate your guys' feedback on how we coach and if you are receiving it well and how we're doing. I need that feedback, and it needs to be constructive, but it doesn't need to just always be, you're doing a great job. There can be things we do better, and that needs to be brought up. And I'm glad Janelle does that with me, and we do that with each other, with the coaches. All right, guys, the next one is programming. And programming is a never-ending painting that I am doing at the gym. Someone needs to be tailoring the program to that community, to the demographics that's in that gym. And guys, if somebody isn't frankly educated in that field or cares a lot about it, because it is a detail-oriented process that takes a lot of review and a lot of thought, and if you don't love it, you're not going to be great at it. So if that's not the case, and I get it, it's kind of tedious for a lot of people, and I totally get that. But even if you buy programming, which you should if there's no one there that cares about it a lot, someone still needs to be tailoring it. Because again, our community is different. If there's a CrossFit gym up by College Station and the average age is 24, that's different than us. We've got a lot of husband and wife couples at the gym that are in their 30s and 40s and 50s. And that needs to come into play with the coaching. And I need to be making sure there is always enough volume of movement patterns, that we're squatting and getting below parallel enough, that we're pressing overhead enough, that we're hip hinging enough, but we're not doing too much. And that is why I call it an art, is there is no really crystallized answer to that. But someone has to be watching how the group feels. At any given time, somebody always has a shoulder issue. Somebody always has a knee issue. But if I'm seeing that, like, man, I think I'm seeing a lot of people griping about their knees being sore, their shoulders being sore, then maybe I tailor that next week and dial it back a little bit. I make some changes. I already made a change this week to Saturday's workout. So someone needs to be addressing that and making that is a liquid moving piece of art that is being developed all the time based on the people in that gym. And that's why I think I'm in the right job, because I do love it. Because if I had to program for all the gyms out there, I could do it, but I would have to then kind of cookie cutter, and I would have to generalize it and take a lot of the little things out that I do with us, because I don't know the facility, because I don't know that community, because I don't know the coaches. And it would take 15% off of the effectiveness. It would take a little bit off of the effectiveness. And programming, guys, you've heard me use this analogy before. Programming is the crazy girlfriend. It can take you a while to realize that you have a crazy girlfriend. She can hide it for a while. It will take you a while at a gym to realize if the programming is good or if it is suspect. Because in any given workout, in any given month or any given week, it can look pretty good, and over time you can realize it's not being thought through correctly. And kind of like if you've dated a few crazy girls and you get more experience, if you've been to a few different CrossFit gyms, you may be able to figure out that the programming is good or bad quicker. It still takes time to figure that out. But that is something someone needs to be constantly just not throwing the next workout out, but watching the community and watching what is happening and tinkering with it on a daily basis. And I do that. That is something I work on every day. And then last one, guys, and so talking about the different pillars, the community and culture is holding up the most weight. I would consider coaching holding up the next biggest amount of weight. Programming is then the next one. And the one holding up the least amount of weight is the facility. The facility is a nice luxury, and when you have a really nice facility, it makes the programming and the coaching and all of that easier. But if you have really good programming and a really good culture and a really good programmer, then you can have a very limited facility and you can have a great experience and get everybody more fit forever. But having said that, the facility is nice. Having a certain amount of variety of equipment, and with CrossFit gyms, with what we do, it is critical to have space at the gym to just be able to do more things with a lot of people. And you need to be able to know how many people can fit in each class based on the size of your facility. And this is something, you guys know, I increased the class limit from 18 to 20 this year. I bought several pieces of equipment before we did that so I could accommodate it. And I still need a couple more things, I've realized, now that we're doing that, when we're in that 19 and 20 range for people in class. I will say though, as it is the least important, our facility is very near and dear to me. This is one we built from the ground up, that Janelle and I spent every dollar we had and a lot of dollars we didn't have putting together. And it is my second home, and I want it to be your guys' second home. I want you guys to feel very at home. Every wall, every purling, every bolt in that building, I handled and helped put up. Every format has a memory for me. My daughter's handprint is in the concrete on the side. There is secret stuff hidden in the walls, little mementos of mine I put in there while we were building the gym. This one is very special to me specifically, and I am very grateful to be able to spend my time in it with you guys. So I will say that while it is the least important thing for any given gym, ours has a special place in my heart, and I hope it does for you guys too. I hope it is a place that when you walk into, you know it's going to be a good day and you have just a lot of good memories in. And I know a lot of you guys like me have built a lot of good friendships in this building, and so I hope you think about it fondly. All right, guys, that is it for the 4 pillars of a CrossFit gym. Right on. Let me know what you think.